Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Village Group Chat. I am your host, Selikka Wood.
And I am the host, Mike Rogers. See, I was waiting to
I thought you were going to say the other host, but you said the host.
Hey, I mean, because technically, if we go back to, and we pull out some receipts.
It would still be both of us.
Yes, it would.
Okay. Well, the purpose of the Village Group Chat is to provide hope, encouragement, and share practical tips as we navigate our family's journey and hope of encouraging you to do the same with yours.
Yeah. And we're also excited to kind of partner alongside Pastor Battle with this Rock Solid series that's been going. Like it's been, the structure, the foundation that he's been laying for so many different people has been not just beneficial for my family, but so many other families. But we'll come back to that because we got it. We coming soon. We have a podcast, the Village Group Chat.
We're coming back with our regular episodes in July. We'll be back with our regular episodes. Right now, we just covering the bonus episodes. We did the It Is Written series. We followed that. So it's 4 episodes, I believe, that we did with that. So go back and listen to those if you haven't already. And this one is the Rock Solid series. And this has been just as good as the It Is Written. Yeah. This is, again, one of those series that's going to go down in history. Yeah, Zion history, where we come back to listen to. I think that's just important because sometimes we experience it in one season of our lives, but that's the same thing with the Bible. That's how critical it is to continue to read over some of those scriptures that you've held onto or heard when you were in a different season, then approaching them when you're in a new season. You know what? It's interesting that you said that too. I have a question before we go into all our IG stuff. Is there anything we talked about this at the family cookout that you weren't invited to? But saw that. Y'all see what I have to deal with. Have you ever? Can you remember something that you watched maybe when you were younger? It could be a movie, a TV show, but then once you watched it with more mature eyes or mindset, your opinion of it changed. Do you have any movies or anything you could think of? Oh man, shoot, man, that's the icebreaker right there. We gonna still get to our icebreaker. Okay. I love movies just across the board. There were a lot of movies that I would watch when I was younger, but then now with having kids, responsibilities, having the real full-time job, Man on Fire with Denzel Washington protecting his, that wasn't his daughter by birth, but that's something that just resonates with me. Whenever something comes to something where men are stepping up and making sacrifices for their family. That always hits me. Yeah, that's good. I'll need to go back and watch that too. It's been years since I saw that. But one of the movies that I said was 2 of them. Forrest Gump is one of them. When I watched it originally, when it came out, I look at it differently now. My perspective of it has changed, and I didn't realize how deep the movie was then. But the other one would be Color Purple. When I was younger and watching Color Purple, I really didn't understand the trauma and just all of the things that were going on. And now watching it, I'm just like, wow, it brings me to tears now when I watch it. Wow. But it's because I think life experiences and maturity, just like you said, you even reading the Bible, things that you might have known a verse all your life, but when you become an adult and have experienced certain things, the whole thing changes. Your whole perception of it changes. It means something different. Move this back a little bit. Because you can't you did that intentionally. No. Try and block my. That's cool. No. We good. No. But is it now to go ahead to? We can do that. The getting to know you. Is that cool? Is that on your schedule? Yeah, that's cool. All right, so we're gonna do Would You Rather. You said you wanted to do it. Oh, okay. Thank you for change it up a bit. Change it up. All right. I have a few Would You Rather questions. And basically, I'm sure everybody's played Would You Rather. Gives you 2 different options, and it gives you a chance to choose, but then also kind of explain why you chose that. Yeah. So, would you rather live without heat or an extremely hot environment? An extremely hot environment. Really? I hate being cold. It just ruins everything for me. I feel like I don't even want to move. I can't enjoy my time. The thought of it just drives me crazy. Yeah, I hate being cold. I can't even sleep right. If it's too cold, I don't care how many blankets you give me. If any part of my body is exposed, it's just it just ruined it. I hate heat.
Man, just give me like a 75, 60, 70, even 60. I just don't like being too hot. That's funny. That's interesting. Okay. Would you rather be the funniest person in the room or the smartest?
I feel like there's enough smart people. I'll be funny. I mean, you need some personality in those rooms. I mean, I like to be both, but I'll take the funny.
Yeah. See, and I think that's the reason, one of the reasons why we get along so well, because there are moments where you were even saying before we started recording, like I can shift the transition from serious to funny. I mean, you only got a little bit of time here on this earth, man. Laugh it up, man.
Yeah, but like, why do you need to be the smartest? Why? Maybe we should examine that deeper. Why do we feel the need that we would feel the need to be the smartest? We actually should never want to be the smartest person in the room, because you always want somebody in there who can, smarter than you.
Glean from and learn from. Like, definitely you can be smart enough to bring certain skill sets, certain talents to the conversation. But I want to be surrounded around people who are smarter than me, still contributing to the conversation, but learning and growing.
I mean, in our dynamic, I feel like I'm both. I'm the funniest and the smartest. So, I mean, I'm basically, I have to carry you on my shoulders around here.
On to the next one. All right, final question. Would you rather be a world-renowned athlete or a world-renowned musician?
Maybe musician. I feel like they're much deeper. I like the deep thought of it all, and it takes a lot to be an athlete too. Yeah. I just the discipline that it takes to be a musician, and the way you just get to just think beyond, and the creativity that goes behind it. I probably would rather be a musician. Yeah. But then if I'm an athlete, then I could cross Bama's up.
I can tell you never played Bama. I can cross Bama. But it's interesting because I'm looking at it from the perspective the athletes, like a world-renowned athlete, to be able to function and perform at that high level. Yeah. It takes a physical toll on your mental and emotional body. And some of these athletes that are, especially with football, with, kind of coming around to the end of the playoffs, like just seeing the toll that it takes where they physically can't even get up anymore. Their livelihood is different, even though they are paid, and for some they are paid, but it takes a tremendous amount of toll. It takes skill to be able to perform at that level. So I would have to say musician. Like,
oh wow, after all of that, I thought you were going to say athlete.
Yeah, I mean, again, like just the toll, the sacrifice that you would have to make, but still, like, and I have a high level of appreciation for music and love it, and that does take skill in and of itself, but that toll on your body may not be as much as an athlete.
You probably would play the flute if you was a musician.
Wow. Bass guitar.
God.
A bass guitar.
I can see you being that dude line, too.
That bass line, you got it.
Oh gosh.
You have a good bass
line. All right, let's hop into this episode, because I don't like where this is going.
All right, so again, in part 3, we are picking up with part 3 of part 4 of Pastor Battle's Rock Solid series, building and remodeling homes God's way. Pastor Battle started off with a interesting story about St. Peter's Roman Catholic Church and the small cracks in the foundation.
Had you heard that before?
I heard something, but it wasn't in connection with the Roman Catholic Church. But I was like, my goodness, that. I mean, it makes sense what he said, but also it was something when we were doing the pandemic. One of the buildings was cracked and found out. I believe it was down in Florida.
Okay. And they had the sinkhole.
Yep. So that, just hearing that and seeing how he began that lesson, began this sermon, it made me start thinking about my life or our lives.
Hold up. We can't skip the important part of that story. When he did the intro, he was basically saying that, the church had went all these years without having any cracks, any damages, anything. And it wasn't until they tried to build a skyscraper right next to it that they discovered all along that the church had been built on sand. And so that was interesting because it had his whole, he kind of introed it by saying that something big had come alongside of it, and that's the only way that they were able to reveal the cracks in that foundation.
So
you like the way I summed that up?
You definitely.
But that was important. That was important.
That was real. Like, we do take in consideration like our environment, but the influence from those around us, and we kind of touched on that a little bit on the last episode. But like, that's critical to not just our growth and development, but our foundation. Like, and so the question that I had thinking about that, there are a lot of people who push things off until, hey, we'll wait till later. This is something that I can delay. I don't have to necessarily address it. But why do you think it's so critical that we as people address the cracks in our foundation?
Because I think just like that building, things will be revealed when those storms come. Or I don't want to keep on using all of the terminology with the weather and all of that.
Bible.
But let's talk like real. Like when those hardships come, when those things that come along that just kind of can rock your world, I think that they start to reveal themselves, and it can be like in a relationship, it can be financially, like I just said. It can be in your career, all of those things. If you don't take the time that you need to keep it up, it's inevitable that at some point those cracks will start to reveal themselves. Even if it seems like for years you've been perfectly fine, everything it's been smooth sailing. Like just like Pastor Battle said, in this life, you're going to experience something. It's no way that you can't, but will you be prepared? Will your foundation be solid enough to withstand it?
Yeah, it's interesting that you said something. That's one of the reasons why, again, I can't sit up here and say I've never drunk anything, but just seeing how
so you told me that you haven't, so you be lying too.
I can't say I
you be drinking and lying.
No, I choose,
no, I know you don't drink.
Not to do it now, just because looking historically at African American people and all that we've had to go through, but relying on alcoholism or alcohol to
turn up.
You said
to turn up.
Hey, that's real. That's real. But and how addictive it is. I wanted to stay away from it. Not to say again, I ain't sip on anything or enjoy it from time to time, but I just don't like the way it makes me feel when you're doing it, like you're having a great time experiencing, but then you gotta wake up with a hangover. And so that's something that I think about, even just kind of in this conversation, how important it is to make sure that we are attentive to little areas like in our lives that potentially could lead to more catastrophic things.
Yeah, and I think that you said something important, like making sure we're taking notice of those things in our lives and not allowing other people's convictions to be ours. You know what I mean? Because you could be like, oh yeah, I don't drink, I don't do this, I don't do that, but it could be something else that it's somebody else's. Somebody else is like really struggling with it, but it's nothing for you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's important that we make sure that we evaluate, certain things in our life to make sure that we are protecting that foundation.
Yeah. Now, even kind of tied into some of the things that Pastor Battle was talking about when it comes to practically applying portions that he expressed in this episode or part 3. And he said, building rock solid people starts with you. It starts with you. You have to be accountable. You have to be honest and open when in moments of difficulties and moments where you need help. And I shoot that. It starts with you. You put a period. I put an exclamation point.
Yeah.
It does. It starts with you.
And when he was talking about relationships, marriages in particular, like what are some things that you do in your own marriage that you can say just kind of help protect that foundation?
Yeah. Having regular conversations. And even in moments where you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, where you're angry, just asking for a timeout. Now, timeout don't mean shoot. Hey, I'm going to the other side of the room and we ain't going to talk about this until 3 months down the road. No, where it continues to build up. Now, put some accountability in it.
Yeah.
So taking the time out, now it's like just we can talk about this tomorrow, or can we talk about this tomorrow? But I just right now it's our voices are getting elevated. You could see it's not beneficial. We're cutting each other off. So let me just take a time out, but scheduling a time, a form of accountability, scheduling a time when we can come back to approach it.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Aside from like dating often and like connection and doing experiencing new things together, that's one of the things that we do too. We have a way of always giving each other the benefit of the doubt, and I feel like that has helped because many times in relationships, if you feel offended or hurt by something, specifically from your spouse, you will automatically go to like, you can't believe they did that, or they're doing something intentionally to hurt you, or just not caring about your feelings. And oftentimes it's a miscommunication, or maybe something wasn't expressed that needed to be expressed during that time. And so it's like, if you have you give your partner a level of the benefit of the doubt, it allows you to have a little bit more empathy and maybe just like hear the person out, where you're not automatically jumping to a conclusion like, they trash. They're trash, because it's easy to do that when your feelings are involved.
Yeah, and especially like inside of relationships, you experience so many emotional extremes. You feel the happiest and highest you've ever felt, but then also you feel the lowest at times. And Andy Stanley used to say, choose trust over suspicion. Choose trust over suspicion. Instead of functioning, hey man, you meant to do that, choose trust. Like, this is a person I'm in a relationship with. Let me ask, is this what you mean? And then don't just cut them off. Give them an opportunity to kind of give you some feedback.
And 9 times out of 10, maybe not even 9 times out of 10, because you do have some people who are just like, they just have no regard for their relationship. But in most cases, I can't imagine that somebody who says that they love you and loves you and wants to, really just wants the best for you would ever do anything to intentionally hurt you. So just taking the time to be able to talk through it and communicate through anything, I feel like that has been the foundation of our relationship. I mean, it's been able to help us.
Yeah, good. You struggling with that?
No, I felt like it was moving.
Because you was knocking it. You was passionate about talking.
Okay, can we move on? Thank you.
All right, we'll move on. We'll move on to part 4. In that part, in this portion of the series, Rock Solid, Pastor Battle referenced Malachi 2. And inside of that book, Malachi, God calls for the prophet Malachi to give a message to his people. Inside of his message, Malachi talks about some of the behavior that he is seeing and highlights the importance / role of the husband in a marriage relationship. Why do you think men aren't stepping up? Well, let me rephrase that, because the reality is I do believe there are a lot of men that are stepping up. A lot of men are wanting to contribute positively, not just to their children, but also the relationship, the context of whether it is a marriage or in a relationship with. I don't know if I could say men aren't stepping up. Like we. Especially with this generation, we are more active inside of the household. We're more active with little things around the environment. So celebrate my brothers out there. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are the same. I do think that men are stepping up. I think that men have been stepping up, but that also, we will be crazy to sit here and say that there's a group of men who just aren't doing what they're supposed to do. But I think that a lot of that has to do with, 2 things. No, first let me start by saying the reason why I think that it seems like they are stepping up more, it appears now that they're stepping up more, is because people are more vocal about it. Like I feel like as a culture, we've redefined, Look at my face.
I'm
struggling today.
My goodness.
I feel like as a culture, we've redefined what fatherhood looks like, what husbands look like. So we're able to be more vocal and see more examples of it, even with social media, just period. I feel like people are writing books about it and doing podcasts about it and all of those things. But the men who aren't stepping up, I think a lot of it has to do with fear of responsibility. The responsibility that comes along with being responsible for a family, for a wife, and for your children. And I think that scares a lot of people to where they want to, some men and women, it's not just a man problem, but I think that they want to do better, but sometimes it's that fear of, gosh, this is all on me now, can scare them off where they end up not doing anything.
Yeah. There are also, I agree with what you're saying. There are also some vices that people get connected with. That's why it's so critical, especially, obviously there are some visible things like drug addicts and different things like that. But then there are also other little vices that stay covered for a long period of time, and then you may not realize that it's impacting you. But that's also the importance of accountability.
Yeah.
Like having somebody inside of your corner that you respect, that you know ain't gonna blast your stuff over the internet, but you know that you can come through honestly and openly and get some good counsel. And I don't think it's wise for them to be struggling with the same thing that you are with.
Yeah.
But somebody in your corner to help give you that encouragement.
Yeah. And I also wanted to add too that I think that men oftentimes feel undervalued in the household, and that has a lot to do with sometimes how the women, their wives or whoever they're in a relationship with is treating them. And that right there will not allow them to feel their presence as being important to, in the household. And so I think it's important for us as wives to make sure that we are valuing the not just the presence of our husband, but the impact that they make in their voice inside the home, where a lot of women are strong, but I value the fact that like Demont is able to add a certain, just another layer of something. I don't know exactly what it is that I can't do it. Just covering, support, all of those things. So I think we got to make sure that we're making men feel valued, and then that gives them the confidence to step up.
Yeah, that's important. And then we will make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. It's how you approach that mistake. Is it coming from a place of, hey, I'm your mom? Yeah. Oh, we're partners. We're in this together. And never mind. Because this could go down a whole nother way. Yeah. Let's tie it back in more towards this message. Pastor Battle also recommended 3 habits to build a healthy marriage. This is where he was speaking about the environment of a healthy marriage. So there were 3 things that he recommended that each couple does: pray together. Yep. Compliment each other daily, not just one compliment every other week. Yeah. Compliment each other daily. Then also that utilizing feelings words, like being in tune. I know that's not easy for us men, because at times it's not easy for some women too. Definitely don't want to say it's just solely the men, but at times there's not always a space. We may not feel like there's a space to share how we're feeling because we gotta get it done. But those were just some things that he recommended. Pray together, compliment each other, share one feeling share one feeling word. What were your thoughts? Yeah, I think that it's spot on. When you're able to pray with your spouse, it really does, I feel like you unlocking another level to your intimacy. And it gives, whether you know it or not, when somebody prays, especially with your spouse, you will start to see things that maybe are burdening their hearts that you didn't even realize was there, but it comes out because you're praying and you're being transparent. And that's not going to be always the case every single prayer you do, but if you do it enough with your spouse, you'll start to realize this. You'll see different parts of them that you wouldn't normally get in a regular conversation. And so that's important. And complimenting each other, I think that even for those
relationships. You could have, because it's some trash relationships out here. Like we can't. That's not.
That's real. You got
it is real. Some relationships. Yeah. It is hard to I'm sure it could be hard to compliment that other person because they just aren't what you would deem a good person or showing good characteristics, or maybe they mean to you, but it gotta be something you can start off with complimenting someone on and going from there. Like, I just think that as hard as it may be, we can find something good in somebody, and you just don't know how much that would change your relationship by you just taking that small step, even when they be blowing you.
Yeah. Then that feeling word, man, that's my go-to.
Yeah.
I used to carry that, before technology has emerged to how far it is now. I used to carry that little feelings wheel around in my wallet. And what was helpful when I expressed to my wife, let me pull out the feelings wheel. She never came out, oh, you pulling out the feelings wheel again.
Yeah.
She gave me the time and space to say, all right, hey, how are you feeling? And then she didn't just shut it down. Oh, wow, okay. And she would ask me questions to help kind of unpack it, because our environment, our world isn't too kind to men who want to express their feelings. Man, you better suck it up.
Yeah.
Man, you better, man, what? You better stop crying.
And I hate that for y'all.
Yeah.
I hate that that's the narrative, because men deserve so much better. But yeah, I feel like we do have a group of men, a culture of men, a generation of men who are tearing down all those stigmas. So shout out to y'all.
I appreciate, man. Y'all record this and run it back, because
I ain't say you. I said y'all, meaning them, people listening.
All right, let's because there was finishing out, kind of concluding this episode.
Yes.
Pastor Battle gave opportunities. And that's what I love too. Certain people that he saw to support the idea.
And respects how they're living.
Yeah. He gave them a chance to share. Y'all know we had kind of talked about when we had a moment to share. Pastor Elwood.
Yes.
Somebody who...
He's been married for 42 years.
Oh, goodness, man.
He's been married for 42 years, so he knows a thing or two.
He married my wife.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was my man.
He has been married for 42 years, so he knows a thing or two about a healthy marriage. Just because you married that long doesn't mean anything, but we get to see it with our own eyes that they are solid.
Yeah.
Him and Miss Cheryl are definitely rock solid. And so I was happy to see that Pastor Battle got his input in the conversation. Yeah. And some of the things that he had mentioned he said that Pastor Battle asked him, what are the things that he thinks makes a successful or solid marriage? And he said fun, trust, transparency, and tending to one another. And I thought that those were spot on too.
Man, shoot, that's like drop the mic. Fun, trust, transparency. Now, transparency does require a level of vulnerability too. And I want to make sure that the environment that I'm creating, not just for my wife or for myself, but for my kids too. Like, they're not, if I share something vulnerable, I ain't going to be laughed at.
Yeah. You ain't going to bring it up later.
Or even use that as ammo in different contexts.
But you can't have transparency without trust. It's the two. They can't live alone. So if I don't trust you, I will never be transparent with you. You will always only get the surface me, and I don't want that in my marriage. So you got to create.
That's what ends up happening too, because somebody's going to get that level of trust outside of the context of the relationship, and then they're going to be excited about going to work.
They got their work husbands and work wives.
Yep, and then Again, we have to protect our relationships. We have to protect our marriages, the commitment that we are making to our partners, because this may be a different subject, different topic, but me personally, I don't believe there's one perfect person for you. I believe a lot of that is based on our decision. The person that you marry is based on your decision.
Yeah, that's kind of true. But I do think that there are people for people. Like there's nobody else for me besides DeMont.
Man, shoot the shots, man. All right, man. Let's wrap this up.
Everybody else was imposters. They were imposters. He's the one.
All right. motivation. What would you share with our listeners to motivate them?
My motivation for this week actually would come from the second person that Pastor Battle talked to in part 3 of the series, which was Miss Vicky, First Lady Vicky.
That was amazing.
Yeah, and he asked her the same question or similar question about what makes a rock solid marriage. And she mentioned keeping the end in mind. And I thought that was so good because that's something that I live, like, I do on a daily basis, that not just with my marriage, but a lot with my children when it comes to interactions with them and disciplining them and just in connecting, period. Like I always try, it's always, I feel like a moment where I try to keep the end in mind. How do I want this conversation to end? How do I want this event to end? Yeah. And that allows me to process and make sure that everything in between is done with like dignity and moving in that direction that I wanted to end with, where I'm not coming back having to just reconcile all these things because I was moving in the moment.
Yeah.
So she mentioned that for marriages, and I think that can go for marriages and family.
It's a great word. Great how you captured it. And even she was very practical, but even just applied more practicality to it. My one thing would be aware of busyness. Like we can be so consumed with just waking up in the morning time, getting the kids ready and getting them out of school, then going to work, and then 8 hours pass, then you're back home and taking the trash out, creating dinner. Just be cautious about how busy you are and making sure you're carving out moments to connect with your loved ones. That's critical to really just continuing to build the strong foundation.
Yeah, and identifying what's important to you in your life, because that busyness comes by when you're making everything important. But sometimes you got to really stop to be like, okay, this is what's important right now, and this is what I'm gonna do. Handle.
Yeah, great conversation. Great. And now, do you know if he's bringing out part 5?
I guess we'll see. I don't know. The word on the curb is I don't know, but we'll see. I don't want to speak ahead.
Yeah. But this conversations have been great, and I'm even going to go back and watch some of these messages too, because I mean we're in a different space than when we experienced his first message even a few weeks ago, and so I'm just curious to be able to see how to unpack it.
Yeah, so you can hit us up on IG at the Village group chat and just to share with us, maybe send us a DM or something on how the Rock Solid series has been impacting you. You can hit me up on Instagram at _ordinary_mom.
Yep, and mine is Mike J. Rogers 1. Simple. Mike J. Rogers 1.
But Rogers with the D. Okay. Well, this has been a great episode. I really did enjoy this talking about this. And I look forward to our new season coming up next month.
Real soon. We're excited about it.
Yes. Talk to y'all soon.
See y'all later.
Bye, y'all.